we are going to discuss on the topic social stratification. So, as we know that the human society is homogeneous, is not homogeneous but heterogeneous in nature. Then why it is called heterogeneous? Basically, we need to understand the heterogeneity comes out of differences. If you look into the social structure, the intricacies of the social relationship, we find there are so many complexities within. So, if you try to understand the complexities of differences, basically we find it in two sources. One is the natural or the biological sources that results into differences, and another one that is out of which is, we can say, the social construction which derives from within the social structure. So, what about the biological and the natural differences? For that we need not to do anything, it is spontaneous, it is natural. For example, when we speak about a baby boy or the baby girl, the sex is identified on the basis of his biological characteristic. But when you make a social difference, when you apply social difference, that is how we need to understand that a boy is oriented to pick up all masculine attributes or the characteristic to grow as a man, or a girl is oriented to pick up all feminine attributes to grow as a woman. So, then here comes the social expectation, that is how the society makes a difference between a boy and girl or between man and woman, that is what we call gender. So, gender is the gender that is based on social difference, whereas sex is based on natural or the biological difference. So, out of such differences, we can make further study on the social hierarchy. So, every society has many dimensions of social differences, whether at the level of gender or the caste or the class or education or wealth or politics or the power or even the status or the privileges. So, we find that such differences are created by the society. So, social differentiation that takes the form of social hierarchy, and social hierarchy that give rise to social inequality. So, taking together the differentiations, hierarchy and the inequality, that is how we can understand social stratification. So, social stratification refers to that structural process of the society, or that refers to that social structure which is layered, which is graded or which is divided between various classes, between various groups who are unequally ranked, or the positions of the individual or the group, those which are created by the society on the basis of its prevailing norms or on the basis of its inherent values. So, on that basis we can understand that social stratification is an inevitable and a very common characteristic of all societies. No matter the society is traditional or modern, no matter whether it is open or closed, all societies, they have their own stratified arrangement. So, this is how we can make a comparison between traditional and the modern society. So, we can say that caste system is one of the feature of the traditional society that stratified, which is very rigid in nature, which is very much institutionalized and very hard to be changed. So, social stratification is hard to be changed in the conservative and traditional society, whereas it is open and always found in dynamism in the modern society, for example, class system. Social stratification assigns social ranking and evaluation to the people who are ranked at different levels. It is all inclusive in nature because it includes all dimension. It is not that only at economic sector we find the differences on the basis of wealth or the income opportunities or the occupational diversification. It has its impact at the social front, at the educational front. So, it is all inclusive. It is not confined to any one segment of the society, and it implies social mobility. So, stratification which makes society lively and the dynamic dynamic because of its flexibility, what every modern industrial society is featured with. So, social stratification in that sense, it is mobile and it is dynamic in nature. Now, coming to some of the theoretical perspective which will add more knowledge while understanding the concept social stratification. Basically, we can understand from three major perspectives. One, that the functional perspective, our second one is the Marxian, and third one is the Weberian perspective. Look, functional perspective, look at social stratification as something inevitable and very functional or essential for any society. It has a very positive outlook, it has a very positive interpretation on social stratification. It says that social stratification maintains social order. It is responsible for the normal functioning of the society, without which no society can function or can survive. But in sharp contrast to the functional perspective, Marxian perspective has evolved with a series of criticism which says that stratification is not functional always, because the way society is stratified, that is nothing but the outcome of the unequal power structure, because the resources, powers which are concentrated in the hand of few who enjoy all privileges of the society, they dictate the norm, they decide in what way the society must go on. So, conflict perspective always challenges to the existing social pattern. It does not accept social stratification as something positive, rather it questions on the social order, it questions on the existing social pattern which determine the social stratification. And another important criticism related to Marxian perspective is that it is monodimensional in nature. It gives primacy only to the economic factor to understand the nature of stratification. So, from the Marxian perspective, class as if is the only indicator to stratify the society. So, in reaction to the Marxian perspective, the Weberian perspective developed, which is multidimensional nature. It does not take into consideration of class or the money or the economy as the sole factor of social stratification. Rather, it take into consideration of the social, cultural, political, educational, several factors to understand the nature of social stratification. And economy may be one among many determinants, but can never be the sole determinant for social stratification. So, the nature of approach in the Weberian theory is multidimensional, and most importantly, it focuses on power, class and status. Power which is derived from the political structure, status which is derived from the social structure, and the class which is derived from the economic structure. So, both have their role to play, both in all these three major segments, political, economic and social. We find that society is highly stratified, is highly ranked. That is how it is creating for the stratification in the society. So, with this, that what we can conclude, that social stratification is an ever changing process, particularly while looking at the contemporary society. We must understand the complexities of the social structure by understanding its social nature of the social stratification. When you understand its stratified nature, then it becomes easier to understand its inherent problem and bring solution to that. Thank you.